best of 7. TSM gets the final say, 4-3. Kobe, how you feel? You're probably riding a high after that, right?
Well, one of the big things that they also mentioned was that TSM has had this fear of LeBlanc in the past, and they've banned a tremendous amount of their games. Seem to have overcome their fear, at least versus this opponent.
I mean, it's been an interesting kind of development in this tournament. Jat was talking about it at the beginning of the day, kind of the lack, or, you know, the unsuccessful attempts at LeBlanc so far, and which teams have been willing to give it over, meaning they have a plan for it.
Yeah, and Optimus himself was just not looking too hot on the champion. I think that was, what, 0-5 at the end of the game there. Just really rough and continuously dying out by himself. And the other big problem is like, he didn't have any vision. Gigabyte Marines didn't have any vision to allow him to sit out in those side lanes and look for those assassination potential.
I mean, Optimus's play is one thing to look at in general. I mean, think about the early game, Levi's flash when he got punished by Svenskeren being in position on the Lee Sin, and then bot lane Slave flashing after he was going to die to ignite ticks anyway. The mechanical stuff that has been such a highlight from the side of the Gigabyte Marines was definitely letting them down in this game. It was atypical compared to their level of performance in other games.
And on the other side, you know, we have been giving Biofrost and Turtle such scrutiny through this tournament, and they really stepped up in the bottom lane. That was multiple 2v2 solo kills on Archie and Slay down there.
They even put on the training weights there with giving over First Blood and the flash from Biofrost.
Oh my
but
goodness.
yes, they played very, very safe, and yet they are still able to go for counter kills, right? The ignite from Biofrost, getting that kill you're talking about with the extra flash.
Absolutely, and I want to push us forward to kind of the game breaker, if anything. Hauntzer coming up big in the top lane after aggression from the Gigabyte Marines. This is our Acer replay here. Hauntzer turning the 2v1.
And it wasn't just Hauntzer. Oh, excuse me, yes, this play was just Hauntzer. I thought we were going to do the big chase. Yeah, this is all Hauntzer. The 2v1, just flexing, just styling on them. Gets the redemption for some extra support there.
And I was kind of shouting out when the draft came through and they took Nautilus. I was asking for the Renekton because Renekton has the push on basically any of the tanks or expected picks in this spot. And he can also do things like this. The turnarounds when you really have the raid bar going and you have the ultimate popped was really clean, and we don't really know. Again, the story has been that Stark is much later into competitive play. We don't know where his champion pool is at. He went for the Ultra Comfort Nautilus, but Renekton was the prize to pick there.
Crazy number of bans thrown to the top lane there, so both of these top laners having to deal with a lot of focus there, and champs like Hauntzer does get the better of it this time. How do we feel about TSM's ability to close here, though? The cast just mentioned there was a little bit of that slowdown that we've seen from a few teams, and this gold draft doesn't exactly mirror that of, you know, the exponential one we like to see.
Yeah, something that we have been tracking with TSM is the very noticeable, you know, kind of slowdown in their shot calling. Ever since Double Lift left, people were attributing a lot of that to him because Bjergsen talked about, yeah, Double Lift is the one that was bringing more of the aggressive calls.
Right.
And he was a bit more of the well thought out and planned ones. Another thing that is coming into it, I think, is a lot of the criticism that they're getting is also affecting their playstyle. And everybody's just been loading on and on and on with TSM, and it seems like they're playing extremely cautious now, and maybe that's affecting them going a little bit slower in the mid game as well. The cautious playstyle, though, did benefit them early on, as we talked about in the 2v2.
Final thoughts here, Frostgurn.
But that's always been something that TSM have really thrived on. You know, when you watch them domestically, I kind of recognize them as just like good, clean, fundamental League of Legends champions. You know, put them on their comfort picks and just let them play the map.
And in a tournament where all this craziness is happening, you would think that that kind of trait for a team would prove well for them or serve them in this group stage. For more on that win, though, let's go ahead and head down to Shox with TSM's 80 carry.
Thank you very much, guys. Indeed, joined by Wild Turtle, who is, of course, very happy after that victory. And Turtle, the first thing I want to ask you about is what Kobe was mentioning before, the fact that you guys are playing, and it seems like you guys are losing a bit of confidence because of the magnifying glass that you're playing under. Is that also a cause for some of the inconsistencies in game?
I think it has to do with a little bit of both. Like, I think we have lost a little bit of confidence, but I also think all these teams here are the best from the other regions, so I think the competition is a lot more fierce, and we're just not used to their playstyles.
Well, in getting used to a team's playstyles, the Gigabyte Marines have been crazy. You've now played 7 games against them. You won the best of 7, by the way. Congratulations. But what's it like to play a team so many times? You kind of know what they're going to do, but you kind of don't.
Yeah, for sure. Like, we studied a lot of their level 1s, and you can see, like, they even pulled out a different one against us. We didn't really expect them to be 5-man in that bush, and they just kind of got first blood on us pretty handily, so.
The fact that you were able to close this out very cleanly and convincingly, what is that going to do for the rest of the day? Because now it's crunch time. If you guys want to move on, the next games are going to be so important.
I think it's a boost of morale. I think playing against SKT is going to be a huge factor. And if we manage to win that, which is kind of hard, it would be a really great start.
You seem in very good spirits. You guys had an awesome game down in the bottom lane as well, but I do want to kind of focus in on your personal experience, obviously, with the announcement of the 6-man roster and everyone kind of looking at you even more than they usually do. What has it been like for Turtle here at MSI?
It's definitely added a lot more pressure, but I don't think it's bad in any sense. I think having the 6-man roster and a lot of people are looking at my play a lot more now, I think it's just kind of a timing to step up, I guess.
Well, we'll see if you can continue to step up. A great start here. Congratulations, Turtle. TSM with another win. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, SKT takes on the Flash.